For my final speech, I'd like to talk about World War One, but first how it started. It all began with the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand in 1914. His murder was the main catalyst for the war all across Europe. Ferdinand was assassinated because of his threat to the Siberian independence. When it was learned that he was about to take the throne, the Black Hand had him killed. The Black Hand was a group made up of political assassins, guerrilla fighters, and saboteurs. The Siberian government went to help Russia with the assistance since they thought that Austria was planning to go to war. Sadly, they were right because on July 28th, Austria declared war on Siberia and Europe's peace between the power quickly failed. Within a week, Russia, France, Great Britain, and Siberia had gone against Austria and Germany, and World War I had begun. On August 4th, the German army invaded Belgium. The Germans used their most powerful weapons, something called siege cannons, and they captured the city on August 15th. They were making their way through to get to France. They killed many people and even a priest who they just thought was hiding civilian fighters. On September 6th through the 9th, the French and British confronted the German army, which by this point made very far in France, 30 miles close to Paris. They were They made a good dent to the Germans and pushed them back to the Aisne River, which was 1,009 kilometers or 627 miles. After that pushback, both sides, the Germans and French forces, made trenches. The fight there lasted 3 years. The battles of Verdun started in February through December, and the Battle of Somme, July through November on 1916. Both groups had lost millions in both battles. In 1914 through 1916, Russia started attacking the German lines on the Eastern Front, but couldn't really break through. Russia was defeated on the battlefield, and because of Russia's other problems during this time, that being food becoming sparse and poverty throughout their nation, and made their own fight against Caesar Nicholas. Then shortly after the Russian Revolution began in 1917, which forced the Russians to stop World War One. In the beginning, back in 1914, the US didn't participate in the war. In fact, the US would keep shipping supplies to Europe on both sides of the fight. But in 1915, Germans had waters around the British Isles be part of the war zone. They had their German U-boats sink many passenger and commercial boats, including the US ships. There were protests for over the US boats sinking the US ships, and that changed the public opinion about going to war. In 1917, Congress made a $250 million bill to help them be ready for war. After this, Germany sunk four more ships in that same month, and on April 2nd, President Woodrow Wilson discussed with Congress and called for a declaration of war on Germany. So at this time, it was the Central Powers versus the Allies, which included Germany, Australia, Bulgaria, the Ottoman Empire versus France, Great Britain, Russia, Italy, and then the US later down the line. In the end, all of the fighting, all of the deaths came to an end on November 11th in 1918. It was revealed that Germany agreed to an armistice which ended the fighting against Germany, whether it was on land or out to sea. That day, now known as today, was called Remembrance Day, which was the 11th hour on the 11th day on the 11th month.